Hello, good morning students. In the last video, we discussed the concept of demand pull inflation. It is a situation of too much money chasing too few goods. Aggregate demand exceeds aggregate supply. What we discuss, suppose economy is operating at full employment level. And in this situation, supply of money rises, rate of interest falls. Lower rate of interest encourages investment. Total investment in the economy increases. In money income increases, consumption increases, demand rises faster than supply, and price level rises. We also discussed that sometimes demand pull inflation can also occur without increase in supply of money when marginal propensity to consume rises, or when marginal efficiency of capital arises. Today we will discuss how the concept of demand pull inflation can be explained with the help of a diagram. So we'll try to understand. Here x-axis represents a real output, or it can also indicate real income, and y-axis represents price level. This is supply curve, aggregate supply. This is demand curve, aggregate demand. And this is the equilibrium point. So OP is the initial price level. F. Now, when the price will be stable, और equilibrium कहाँ होगा? जहाँ aggregate demand exceeds aggregate supply. मगर equilibrium में problem कब होगा? When aggregate demand is exceed aggregate supply or aggregate demand less than aggregate supply. Okay. So x-axis represents real output, y-axis represents price level. What does F point suggest? F point suggests that economy has reached at full employment level. Why? Because after beyond this point, the supply curve becomes vertical straight line. Vertical straight line matlab here now there is no scope of further increase in real output or employment. So we can draw a dotted line. Suppose this is OY0. So this is OY0 is output at the level of full employment or income at the level of full employment. Okay, F point. So F point क्या इंडिकेट करता है कि इकोनॉमी अभी फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट लेवल पर पहुंच गई है. So there is no scope for further increase in aggregate supply. Now this is aggregate demand D. Original price level is OP. Now demand rises. क्यों demand increase? Due to increase in supply of money, or due to increase in investment, or due to increase in marginal propensity to consume, etc., etc. And we discussed in the last lecture that so far as demand for goods and services increases, supply of goods and services cannot be increased in the same proportion. और यहाँ तो increase होने का कोई scope नहीं है because supply curve becomes vertical straight line. So demand increase, aggregate demand is increasing due to increase in purchasing power of people. So we have a demand curve shift upward and we have to draw a new demand curve. इसको हम नाम देंगे D1. Supply is constant, so price level rises from OP to OP1. Price level, because supply being inelastic, supply is constant, so aggregate demand exceeds aggregate supply. तो क्या होगा? Price level rise होगी. So price level increase from OP to OP1. Again demand rises, so we have to draw a new other parallel curve. इसको हम नाम देंगे D2. यहाँ हो जाएगा P2. So demand curve shift upward. Okay. So in this diagram, what we have learned, when after full employment level, when supply curve becomes vertical straight line, means there is no scope for further increase in real output or employment. और इस सिचुएशन में अगर डिमांड बढ़ेगी तो क्या होगा, डिमांड इज एक्सीड सप्लाई, डिमांड एक्सीड सप्लाई, एग्रीगेट डिमांड एक्सीड एग्रीगेट सप्लाई. सो यू कैन सी दैट इंक्रीज डिमांड, जो प्राइस इंक्रीज डिमांड है वो प्राइस को ऊपर की ओर खींचती है. Therefore, it is known as demand pull inflation. Excess demand over supply of goods and services pulled up price level at higher level, and that is why this is known as demand pull inflation. So we'll try to understand again. X-axis represents real output, Y-axis represents price level, SS curve indicating aggregate supply curve, D1 and D2 are aggregate demand curves. F point suggests that economy has reached at full employment level. Why? Because beyond this point, supply curve becomes vertical straight line. OY0 is the output at the level of full employment. Demand बढ़ेगी, supply comes price level shift to P1. Again demand बढ़ेगी, price level increase to P2. So बढ़ी हुई demand, excess demand over a price supply of goods and services pulled up price level at higher level. That is known as, it is known as demand pull inflation. Okay, I hope you understand the concept. Okay, आज के लिए इतना रहेगा. Thank you very much.